You don't need a last name. You're so cool. It's like Madonna.
Lost it in the 90s.
Kennedy. That's it. Brian Brenberg, Jackie DeAngelis, and with us for the hour, Michael Lee, strategy founder, Michael Lee.
That's me.
Two names, but we still love
yes.
it.
Yes. Golf clap.
My favorite Utah senator.
So the Trump administration is making rare earths a cornerstone of its policy for energy independence and economic security. Michael Lee, I'm assuming we love it, but tell us why and if we like the way that, I guess, the White House is going about it.
Yeah, well, they're using the Import-Export Bank to finance $10 billion of the $12 billion, which I think is a great idea. I think the U.S. ends up making out on this. And then also, there's a huge multiplier to mining, right? So this is going to create a lot of jobs, a lot of high-quality jobs. So mining is right up there with manufacturing in terms of the output. And look, the use for these goes far and wide. Obviously, you need them for semiconductors, which is top of mind for all the data center build-out that we're going to use, all the batteries for electric vehicles, as well as all sorts of other batteries that are coming online for electric storage and kind of things going forward. And then the defense applications. You don't want to be held hostage to China. I think this is something that really started in the first Trump administration during COVID. We realized how reliant we were on foreign adversaries for a lot of things. And obviously, you know, oil comes top to mind when you think about what are essential resources we need from kind of unfriendly parts of the world. So I think to the degree that we have these, we can mine them. The history of this is that China basically subsidized the ever-living you-know-what out of this to crowd everyone else out of the market, so it became unprofitable for a lot of companies to do it. So we just let it happen offshore. Now you're onshoring this. It's going to make a big difference. You know, it's not necessarily taxpayer money that's coming here. Public-private partnership. It's a great deal.
So, Jackie, I want to talk to you about the pricing of that.
Here's another one, China, that you're just going to take and run off into the sunset with.
It's going to be a 3-month supply when all is said and done. And so you got to, so if there's temporary price disruptions or temporary supply, you got to imagine it's not the entire supply chain that gets cut out, whether it's 20% or 30%. But this can kind of be used to smooth over, keep things at an even keel, which is what the Strategic Petroleum Oil Reserve was meant to do, not reduce the price of oil to try and paint the numbers that you have an exploding deficit and what the Biden administration did with all that nonsense. So I think 3 months is a lot in that context, right? If there were no availability to any of these critical minerals, which is very slim chance, then he's right, it's not that much. But in reality, it's more than enough and it can be replenished.
And I just want to make the point that long-term, supply is certainly part of the equation, but long-term also what happens is our cost of doing business here in the United States and labor becomes the biggest issue.
Of this, and then Mike Lee, quick comment, we got to go. Speaking of other partners, Edward Lawrence is great. He sends this out. The U.S. Trade, USTR is going to be announcing a trilateral critical minerals cooperation between the EU and Japan. So these are developing action plans for critical mineral supply chain resilience. So we're bringing in the EU, we're bringing in Japan. And then quickly with this Import-Export Bank, there were a lot of comments that this kind of sounded like China, the way, like it's kind of this top-down model. And the chairman of that wanted to come out and say, no, this is very much a decentralized, not centralized. The public-private partnership will dictate where the market is, where the pricing is. It'll be based on market dynamics. So trying to dispel the notion that this feels like the way China does things by coming top down with this Import-Export Bank involvement. Yeah,
so I would say similar to the tariffs, that you don't want the government involved in these private industries. But that's only going to work if everybody's playing by the same rules. Right. So free trade is only going to work if everyone's practicing by the same rules. And when you have other governments manipulating the markets, you unfortunately need to step in to defend yourself. And so I think what we're doing here is giving ourselves some resilience and figuring out alternatives so that we're not held hostage by our on-again, off-again lover named China.
Bad boyfriend, China.
Critical.
The competition is going to get ahead of us because we know in China they don't have as much red tape that they have to clear to design products and move forward with them. At the same time, you've got this intricate issue of some of the U.S. companies wanting to partner with Chinese companies. I think the vision here is to see a electric or driverless car market that is completely made in the USA, not to be partnering with China in any way. So there's a lot of dynamics here.
Yeah, look, Ford is trying to partner with some Chinese companies to figure this out, which is, in my mind, just absolutely insane. Like, there's other options out there. There's a company called Mobileye that already has the software for autonomous driving. Volkswagen has partnered with them. Detroit, notorious for being behind the 8 ball in terms of technology, wants to come up with their own solution. Now they're partnering with China. Another disaster from the legacy automakers in Detroit outside of making big cars. I will say, I drive a Tesla. The autonomous driving is unbelievable. It's unbelievable how good it is. I think it's supervised only for legal reasons. Like, you don't really need to supervise anything. Like, I've heard that you could put a little piece of tape over the camera inside the car, just play on your phone the whole time. I don't like.
You've heard.
Yeah. I don't do anything like that. I barely use the self-driving unless it's late at night and I'm driving. I'm a little tired. It might be a little bit dangerous. Car's too much fun to drive. It's here. I don't know what it's going to take for widespread adoption. Right, like that's my concern. At some point, we'll get there because it works, and it's safer than regular people driving. Lemonade is a car insurance or insurance company. Just came out, said anybody that has a Tesla self-driving car, you're going to get a lower car insurance rates. Yeah. It's safer. It's better. It will increase safety on the road, and the technology a year from now versus technology today is going to be that much better.
I was going to say that because I've had the experience in the Tesla too, with somebody driving, but the driverless features on, and I was just
Mike Lee, but I'm guessing you're kind of in Jensen Huang's camp. This sell-off may be overblown because we're thinking too fast about the demise of software. What do you say?
So, you know, I've been doing this since 2001. It's when I started working in investments. This is easily the stupidest narrative I've ever seen on an exponential basis. Right, to assume that because Claude Code is spectacular or because AI is coming, that you're somehow going to replace Microsoft Office and all the way it fits into your enterprise, or ServiceNow or any of these other, you know, there's probably some software companies like HubSpot, like some software companies that do things on the fringes that are not that valuable, are going to have some threats come to them. But it's insane to think that, like, because you got to believe these software companies just stand still. While a corporate enterprise, an enterprise client is just all of a sudden going to bring in some people who are AI experts that can duplicate all their software needs in-house just using AI, and these software companies are just going to stand still and not use those same AI tools to make their products infinitely better, more valuable. Like, why wouldn't you?
Can I push back a little bit?
Yes.
Just a question. On the margin, the question is, I think about if it starts to eat into some of their business and impact profitability. So yes, if I'm a software as a service company, I'm not just going to sit back and let AI eat my lunch. But I think is the market, and this is a question, trying to figure out if on the margin it's hurting incremental revenue or incremental profit, I then have to rethink what I am worth. And I might be worth 15% lower than I was pre-AI. Is that what the market's trying to figure out, just valuations? What now is the company worth? If you're not going to sit back and do nothing, but if you take a little bit of a hit on revenue and profit, you're worth a little bit less than you were yesterday.
Sure. That's a very kind of, like, you put that very eloquently, and it's reasonable. What's happening in the stock prices is not that.
Okay.
It is a run for the exits. These companies are all going out of business. I can't believe you own them. It is an insane overreaction, and the likelihood is that if you're a smart enterprise, you're using AI to eke way more value out of these SaaS products. All right, and just to give you a good example, if you look at Blackstone stock, just getting absolutely crushed because a lot of their funds hold debt against SaaS companies. Okay, why do SaaS companies lever up? So software as a service, you have long-term contracts at ultra high margins, right? So it's the most valuable revenue stream kind of in the marketplace. So why not lever up against it? Because, like, you make more money with debt, right? So Blackstone stock just got absolutely destroyed yesterday because of the holdings in some of their funds, which they don't own directly. Their fee income may come down because some of those loans may not be worth or default. I think the likely scenario is that companies use AI to eke out way more value from these SaaS companies, and these SaaS companies' delivery gets much better, improving profitability and revenue.
But are these guys, Jackie, does this look like these guys are all getting, like, destroyed or wiped out? I mean, I know NASDAQ was down, what, 2.5%.
Stocks for people who really understand what's going on here. When we throw these headlines out, there is fear that goes into the marketplace, and I think people overreact.
Yeah, ServiceNow, okay, SaaS company growing at 22, 23% per year. They're they fancy themselves as the air traffic controller of all your AI processes. Stock is down 40% since October.
Yeah.
Right? And they beat earnings, beat estimates, raise guidance. Like there's this panic that, again, I think a lot of these AI stocks are wildly undervalued because of how little Wall Street understands about them.
Kennedy, I don't want to monopolize your time. My comment, and you can pick up, is that's my worry. Is Microsoft and ServiceNow beat and raise, things look good, and the stock's still selling off. And it could be because Wall Street is not understanding it. But I'm also worried that if the market's thinking 6 to 12 months out, the market, it's not reacting the way it should. So is it overvalued now, or is there something on the horizon that makes the sell-off, or is it just pure momentum? Is it just getting out and asking questions later, which is disconnected to fundamentals? But when you've beaten a raise and you're still selling off 15%, that's what more concerns me.
Okay, so you have a lot of these companies that are doing business with each other. Important to know who these left-wing organizations are, and who do you think they are?
Look, if you're in the Twitter sphere, it's been, you know, I forget the gentleman's name. His wife runs Code Pink. It's very well organized. In the Signal chats that I believe.
It's the Neville Singham guy.
Yes, and then in the Signal chats, you know, there's very credible evidence that high-level government officials inside of Waltz's administration are running this. These people have license plate readers. You don't get a license plate reader unless you're attached to local law enforcement or state law enforcement. Okay, and I have to say, this Justice Department is an albatross around the neck of Donald Trump's administration. The fact that Josh Hawley has to write this letter and it's not already happening. I mean, just look at these Epstein files being released, okay? Had Trump done this on his own a year ago, it would have been the biggest political win of his entire administration. Yet, the opposite, it's held him down. So, like, this is a disaster, and the DOJ needs to get their act together. Otherwise, we're going to lose this country.
Yeah, Pam Bondi. Michael Lee is not pleased with you. Thank you so much, Michael Lee, for joining us for the entire hour. It has been delightful.